Brian, Stephen, it's an injury you have at the minute. Just kind of give us some updates on that and where that is at the minute.
Yeah, so I picked up a kind of upper quad injury there against Waterford in kind of round 3 of the league. So it's just been a slower one to come back from the hamstring compared to the hamstring, I suppose. I probably early stages, I was looking at trying to get back for the Limerick game, as promotion was still on the line. So probably maybe pushed it a bit too hard, kind of leading into that, and maybe set myself back a week or two. But no, it's progressing well there now. So happy with where I am at the minute, and hopefully get back in time for championship.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think you'll be able to play a part in this Munster Championship opener? Or
I'm hoping so. We've a scan to get done between now and then, so that'll tell a lot. But feeling good, moving well, but want to kind of get back into competitive stuff and that before getting onto the pitch in championship.
Yeah, you've had a tough run with injuries in the last couple of years. It's kind of, especially those kind of niggling ones where you feel like you're just back and then you're pushed back another few weeks. Very frustrating, I'd imagine, to just kind of wrap your head around it.
Yeah, frustration is probably the main word I'd use. I suppose when I came back this year, I had a completely different approach where it was just kind of make sure, kind of galvanise all hamstrings and stuff like that, and you do that, next thing you pick up a quad injury, like, do you know what I mean? So in one sense I was glad that it wasn't the hamstring, but then I was like, oh, geez, here's another one just to add to the list. But look, injuries are part and parcel of sport. We know what we're getting ourselves into, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a nice run of a couple of games now instead.
Yeah, for sure. And this year there's lots of new faces between management and players. How has all that been? We'll start with just the management first. We were talking to Philly earlier on, and of course a great Tipp football man, but what's it like kind of having Philly and the new management in there this year?
Yeah, it's good. Like, look, sure, you spoke to Philly. Like, Philly's a passionate Tipperary football man, number one, I suppose. Like, you know, which is great. You can kind of get a bounce off that alone, and he's put in a good team around him there now, with his selectors, his coaches, and kind of the backroom staff as well, between the medical team and nutritionists and stuff. So, no, can't fault the setup or anything like that. I think they've equipped themselves very well, but it's a learning process for them as well. It's their first year into inter-county senior management too. So no, they're applying themselves well. They've put the right, I suppose, platforms in place, and now we just kind of build on that there now. But no, enjoying the new look. All right, yeah.
And with players wise, I think there was 15 debutants in the league this year. Even for you as captain and things, like bonding all these new players together, a lot of young lads, and first year on a senior panel. How has that kind of been, and has there been time and for that to happen, I suppose, in terms of bonding the team?
Yeah, you do your best. Like, I suppose it's the lads who've come in this year are top class. They've all really applied themselves really, really well, like, and want to be there, which is a huge thing. I suppose if I was to look negatively on it, it's the frustration thing is it's another year of another whole new panel, I'll call it, because we had the same last year, the same the year before. So that's probably my main frustration. Is I'd like to get to a stage where we can keep everyone now and maybe add to it next year or whatever the case is. But if you're going year on year where you're just starting afresh, it's very hard to build momentum, build consistency, build systems of play and stuff like that. So I think, in fairness to management and stuff, they're well aware of that, so that's what they're getting after. Like, we're all talking about a 2 to 3 year project here and stuff like that, like, you know, and making sure that everyone that's on the panel this year wants to put their hands up for next year too, because you know yourself, if you're losing, like, I think we lost 14 of last year's panel. If we lose 14 again next year, it is hard to build that consistency. So hopefully now the lads who come in have been brilliant, as I said. If we can get a couple of results, I suppose that makes it easier for lads to commit again. So that's what we're hoping to do. But
yeah, and even looking at the under-20s this year, there's a few nice lads in there, even club mates of your own, Charlie King, doing really well in there. It's good to see that kind of strength at the underage, because that'll help what you're saying there and keeping lads involved for next year, knowing that there's good lads coming in behind.
Oh, it definitely will. And I think, like, our panel this year is young, so they know a lot of those players playing on the 20s team, and I think we're all very cognizant of how good that team is, and we're all keeping in touch with their results and stuff like that. Like, it's what we'll be talking about at training and stuff. So I'm excited for the likes of it, Charlie King and Dahi Hogan, Joe Higgins, stuff like that, lads coming through. As an elder statesman, it kind of gives you kind of an extra G to kind of stick around, like, Joe, because there's quality coming through, like, so they've had a great start in phase 1 of the under-20 championship, so hopefully they continue that now in phase 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are you 29, 30 yet, or?
I'm just turned 30, Paul, since December. Unfortunately, I'm on the wrong side of it now.
Yeah, so you're one of the quote unquote older lads on the panel now. Another one is Jimmy Feehan.
Yeah.
He reached 100 not 100. He reached 100 appearances the other day. But the 100 appearances, like Jimmy has been an incredible servant, and you would have played with him kind of all the way up along.
Yeah, I have, and it's testament to him. Like, if you think about a footballer to get 100 appearances, like that's a hell of a lot of consistency, and it's a hell of a lot of game time to get under his belt. Like, I'd say for those 100 appearances, he's probably, I'd say, played the full 70 minutes for, I would say, probably 80%, if not 90% of those games, which is a huge testament to him. Jimmy's been a great servant. I've been lucky enough to play with him since minor all the way up along. Top class person, and you're delighted to see him recognised for such an achievement.
Yeah.
So like that's over 10 years of really, really top class consistency. So no, he fully deserves it. Yeah, it's great for him.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the championship now, it's Waterford coming. It's at home. There was a bit of talk about the venue, but it is going to be Semple Stadium. Just talking with Philly, they kind of had inquired about getting it to Clonmel, and just for, I suppose, the atmosphere, and with it it's against Waterford, so in a geographic sense it makes sense too. But from a player's perspective, does that affect you in terms of, do you have a preference of, you often hear it could be better for Tip to play it in Clonmel or somewhere where there's a good crowd there, but then you often hear players might prefer playing in Semple Stadium, because why wouldn't you want to play in Semple Stadium? But from your perspective, where do you kind of lie on that?
Yeah, from my own point of view, like, of course we all want to play in Semple Stadium, right? But you prefer playing in a game where there's a bit of buzz around it and stuff like that. And I suppose this year, I was part of the team when we played Longford, Blow and Clonmel. And as the game kind of reached the latter stages and we were kind of thereabouts, you definitely got an extra couple of % off the crowd. So I was always open to the game being played elsewhere and stuff like that. If we can't, we just encourage the Tip supporters to get into Semple Stadium and try to give us that support, because it is a big factor, like, do you know what I mean? Because I suppose, look, Semple Stadium has a lot of games on it and stuff like that, so our own game time that we can get in there is limited, say, in terms of getting into train and stuff like that. So sometimes it can be as much as an away factor for you as it is for the teams coming, because we're not playing and training there. Like, I was talking to some of the other counties there where they train full time in Cusack Park or the Gaelic Grounds or whatever the case is. Maybe is that something we should be able to do in Semple Stadium? I leave that up to the powers that be. I know I'd prefer, if we're going to be playing our games there, if it's a home ground, we should be able to get access to it.
Yeah, and the game itself, then, it's against Waterford. It's of course, he played last year in that game down in Dungarvan where Waterford won. I was speaking to Philly, he said, you know, there's a line drawn under last year and it's a new year, but from a player's point of view, I'd imagine that's always kind of in the back of your head, looking to get one back in the championship.
Of course it is, and I don't think it matters who it is, you're always trying to get one back on whoever knocked you out of the championship last year. But look, I suppose we've probably been nip and tuck with Waterford the last couple of years, so it is a bit kind of close quarters now with us. So yeah, we definitely have it in the back of our heads that, like, we just want to get a performance and kind of hopefully undo the result of last year and kick on again. So yeah, again, there'll be nothing between us again, I imagine, in 2 weeks' time. So shoulder to wheel, if we can get a few bodies back and stuff like that, it'll go a long way.
Well, best of luck and thanks for talking to us here today, Stephen.
Cheers, thanks very much.